Hey there, my YouTube fan. This is the Healthy Life Coach 702. I'm Veronica, and I know it's been a while, but I'm happy to be here with you. Yes, I'm still in school, so I have a little bit of time on my winter break, and I wanted to share some information and inspiration with you. As you know, I'm here to provide information and resources on navigating life beyond trauma. We all have experienced some trauma, whether that may look like divorce, single parenting, abuse, or affected by incarceration. Usually that kind of goes in a cycle. Um, but today we're here and we're going to be talking about single parenting. And if I look away, I'm looking at my notes. So I am focused. I'm here just looking at my notes that I've drawn up for this video. And as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about single parenting and trauma. And as you know, that journey may feel pretty overwhelming, but just keep in mind that you are not alone. The first, step in healing is recognizing and acknowledging your feelings and not putting them by the wayside or stuffing them down, because that usually creates more issues. And it's just better to acknowledge what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and don't let those negative thoughts take the wheel, where sometimes those negative thoughts will have you thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me, or I'm less than. Or sometimes you may feel like, oh, I'm going crazy. You're not, you're human. And in the world that we live in today, there's lots of trauma, there's lots of stress, there's lots of demands placed on us. And it can be pretty tough navigating life. So, again, with that being said, we're going to cover some tips for managing stress, fostering resilience, and finding support systems to help you and your kids, if you are a single parent, to heal. Actually, not if. This is particularly for single parents. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and, jump right in. And as I mentioned, sometimes, the world has so many demands placed on us, and it can be a struggle, if you are a working parent, to balance work, you're trying to heal, and you have other parenting responsibilities. Then you add on the layer of managing your emotions. Sometimes, you're dealing with guilt, feeling overwhelmed, or sometimes you're wanting to isolate. And another layer to that is when you're dealing with children's behavioral or emotional responses to trauma. If, for example, it was an abusive relationship, or say that a parent, has recently become incarcerated, and you're having to have that dialogue with them about where is mommy or where is daddy. And you may not want to say, oh, they're incarcerated or they're in jail, or if it may be a long time that they're going to be away, because the next question is usually, when are they coming home? So all of that can be overwhelming, and you just have to be willing to, like I said, acknowledge the feelings, the emotions, take a deep breath, know that you will get through this. It may not be easy, but there are supports, and as long as you're willing to seek the supports and be open to suggestions, not everything is for everyone. So, as many people have told me, you take the good and leave the rest. I always picture like a milkshake with whipped cream and a cherry on top. Hey, I'm not always a whipped cream person, but I may scrape off the whipped cream and eat and have the rest of the shake. So, with that being said, I'd like to move into, some practical tips for single parenting after trauma. and why your self-care matters. As you've, probably have heard, the saying is, you can't pour from an empty cup. So taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's actually self-full. So, and it's very much necessary for healing for yourself and for your children. So self-care can, look different for, different people. So some simple self-care tips are, if you can set aside like 10 to 15 minutes a day for meditation, journaling, or simply a walk. All three of those are very helpful if you can just take time to calm your mind and meditate. If you're not, sure how do you meditate, there's plenty of videos on that. Or if you're interested, I could create a video with some tips on for meditation. Journaling, you may be like, I don't even know what to write. It's simple. Write what's on your mind. Sometimes just getting that out on paper, you won't believe how much better you feel. And, you pick a time, like whether it's once a month, once a week, go back and review your journal entries and see, what type of improvements have been made, or what are some things maybe you've thought of since you, entered that journal post that you could do differently that could be, healthier for you and your family. Also, seeking therapy or support groups for your healing. Those are very helpful resources. If you're, more into one-on-one, or you're having, there's just certain thoughts you can't let go of, or you need help understanding and processing certain things, then therapy is definitely a good option. And that is a place where you can, openly share what's really on your heart and not have to be guarded, and get some professional tips on how to, continue navigating. Also, support groups. Say if there was some type of, abuse, there are different support groups for that. Or there's support groups for, just being a single parent. If you've, this is new to you, it's not easy, even if you're a seasoned single parent, as the world continues and there are more demands placed on people, it becomes ever so challenging, and it can help to get together with people that are dealing with the same concerns as you. And it's a good space to be able to vent. And believe it or not, venting helps a lot, but we don't want to harp. We don't want to stay in a certain mindset. It's okay to, vent and let go of your frustrations, but you want to be able to move on to what are some solutions. What will solutions possibly look like, or what are the outcomes you're seeking? Next, on the home front, creating a stable environment, routines. That I learned early on. I learned actually when I was married and the first pregnancy was twins. I can't even imagine having to go through that now at my age, but organization was crucial. Having a routine, even having a written out schedule, especially when you have, kids of reading age, and so on. A place I always like to place things was on the refrigerator. Or, like if you have school-age children, if they know, okay, when I come home, I put my backpack here, I go and wash my hands, I go and have my snack, I get, 15 to 30 minutes to just decompress after my snack. Having a routine really helps. It helps children to feel secure, and believe it or not, they can appreciate a routine. They do not like not knowing what to expect, or what, what they're going to be doing. on a daily. Of course, life, we need to have some, things that are unplanned, but general things, it helps to have a routine. Um, let's see. Other things that can possibly help is, incorporate some healing activities. Um, have some family rituals that maybe you create, um, like gratitude or different gratitude exercises. Like when my kids were younger and we were having a tough time, um, I would have them, when they came home from school, from the time they came home from school until we were ready to go to bed, everybody had to give me at least 5 things they were grateful for. Not in a row, as they thought of something. Hey, Mom, I'm grateful we have a roof. Hey, Mom, I'm grateful for the bike I have. You know, that helps everyone to focus on the positive. It may be a tough time. You may be struggling. You may have moved to, a different housing situation. You may be living with family or friends and things are kind of tight. But there's always something to be grateful and thankful for. So creating, some type of ritual that, works and that's positive within the family. And don't feel bad if you need to change it up. If something doesn't work, it just doesn't work. You find something that works for your family. Um, Another thing is maybe story time, or like we would we always try to have at least one meal a day together at the table. And you wouldn't believe some of the things that children will just talk about, and some things you would never know unless you were having that, dialogue at the table. Or, say, hey, right before bed, you have younger children, maybe story time. Or, even if you have older children, you're winding down before shower time, bedtime, and, you start off with, you give a sentence to a story, they add on, and it becomes funny, it can become silly, but it's a way to relieve stress and to bond. So that is another way that you can possibly, create a routine, on a positive level. Most importantly, when you're, dealing with life post trauma, um, you know, besides creating, that routine, you want to create an environment that supports their emotional needs. So even though, some things you may not be ready to talk about, or you may have to, break it down in chunks, encourage open communication, because children will create their own dialogue, or you will find that other kids will create a dialogue for them. For example, if there is maybe a single dad, and you're picking up your kid or kids from the school, and you will see predominantly they're females, moms picking up. And if you don't maybe talk about, say, for example, if there's a divorce involved, well, why isn't mom here? Or say if there's a substance issue, mom may be at rehab, or mom may be incarcerated. Again, this may not be easy to speak about, but it's good to give the children some information, age appropriate. And if, it's a struggle for you, again, I would encourage therapy. That's a good way to speak to someone, and they can help you to be able to communicate with the kids, because you don't want them to make assumptions. It's just not good, or it makes them sometimes, the assumption could be, oh, she left because of me, or he left because, I wasn't a good kid. So encouraging open communication is critical. Now, I did speak on, therapy, and I spoke on um, support groups and so on. So there's different ways that you can find community resources. Um, you can start with, even at the school, there's school counselors. They can give you information and referrals. There's online forms for, single parents. Um, you can also check with, here in my state, it's 211, and you can get information for different resources in the community. So that is, an option. There's, places like the Red Cross, there's local churches, and so on that can have they may have different information about different support groups or low cost or no cost resources in the community. um, if you're having some trouble finding resources in your area, please reach out. I will put information on how to email me in the comments, or if you're open to putting it in the comments, that's fine also. um Most importantly, a lot of us, especially women and men, um we are so independent or prideful, and I'm here to tell you it's okay to ask for help. I'm a big advocate of asking for help. I learned the hard way trying to do everything by myself and not asking for help. um, I ran into a situation where I experienced adrenal fatigue, and believe me, you don't want to experience that. That was terrible. Waking up after a not, trying to get a good night's rest, and you wake up and you're still exhausted. And I would help get my kids off to school. I would go back to bed. I worked from home, and I worked part time, and I would get up maybe 1 or 2 hours before they were due home from school, make sure dinner and everything like that was prepared for them. But it was very exhausting, and it did contribute to my depression. So, like I said, you're human, and we are designed to be in community with other people. I know social media and online platforms, it makes it as if, hey, we don't need that human interaction. We do. And like I said, ask, for help. And when we're, getting back to the open communication, um, encourage your children to talk to you and to share their feelings without, fear of being judged by you or you getting upset or angry. Some things they say may be a little, you know, unsettling, but try to, keep a straight face, and, even if you don't have an answer for them, let them know, hey, can I get back to you? Can mommy get back to you? Or can daddy get back to you on this? I need some time to think this through. Um, and keep in mind, there are appropriate ways to explain trauma and healing. So again, if you're needing, help with that, or you're struggling in that area, reach out to those support groups, reach out for, therapy. And most importantly, it's okay to, to lean on friends and family and, community services. For me, you know, when I had gone through a divorce and moved to an area where I didn't know anyone, I joined a church. It took a few before I found the right church for me and my family. And when my kids played sports, I got to know those other parents, and we became friends. And so when I did go back to work outside of the home, I was able to lean on some of those parents and say, hey, can you take my kids to sports? Can you drop my kid off at counseling and I pick them up, or whatever it may be. Creating those new friendships and supports and being open to asking for help, it will help to, bring down your stress level and help you achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve within your family. Excuse me. Grab me a drink. So, as I was mentioning, about the community services and reaching out to family and friends, don't feel like you're less than. Reach out, talk, talk to, your family, friends, or, different people that you may know in the community, or you may have to go to, public community services to get, to find the help and resources that you need. And most importantly, this new journey in your life, or, maybe new incident that you're trying to heal through, you will get through it. And most importantly, remember, you are stronger than you think. And the most important thing is taking one step at a time, not being hard on yourself. Things do happen for a reason. I know that sounds cliche. I always look at it, hey, I had to learn a lesson, before I got the blessing. And just know that you will be okay. You will grow through this. Your children will grow through this. And just continue to, putting one step in front of the other. And don't spend a lot of time in the rear view. What I mean is, sometimes we try to figure out, why did people do what they did, or why did they behave in a such way, or why did they mistreat us, disrespect us, and so on. Don't spend a lot of time looking in that rearview mirror, replaying that tape over. All it does is it can lead you to depression and have you come down on yourself. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it has a lot to do with the way they were raised. They have unresolved trauma. And as they say, hurt people hurt people. And that's something to, keep in mind as you, move into, another relationship. Take your time, really get to know people. You still will never know everything about a person. But really don't rush into anything. Take your time, get to know that person, get to know their thoughts, get to know their family, their friends. And if they're not wanting to take you around family and friends, and, only wanting to hang out with you, after certain hours and so on, those are red flags. But again, that's for another video. But most importantly, just take your time, one step at a time, and just know that you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. And you are stronger than you realize. So, on that note, I just want, to remind you to prioritize your self-care. Create your stable environment. Support your kids' emotions and your emotions. Don't deny or put off or think, oh, that's silly or that's dumb. No, you feel how you feel. That doesn't mean we have to give into all of our feelings or we let them take the wheel, but you acknowledge them. And remember to lean on the community, whether that community, I always call it a village, because I believe it takes a village to raise children, even if you are in a relationship, but especially for single parents, because you are cut so thin with all the different things you have to do as one person. So at this point, I'd like to know, what challenges have you faced, as a single parent? I'd like, if you're open, please share your thoughts in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you. Or as I mentioned, I will list how you can reach out to me via email. And again, if you found, this video to be valuable to you or valuable to someone else, please, number one, like the video, share it with someone you think that it could possibly help, and subscribe so you know when I make another video. I haven't gone live on YouTube, but I do plan to do that in the near future also. Um, so, most importantly, you can just, know when I create more content on navigating life beyond trauma. Most importantly, stay encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, my name is Veronica. I am the Healthy Life Coach 702, and my focus here is to help people to navigate life beyond trauma. On that note, be blessed, and remember, you are stronger than you think. God bless.